What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sister Crafters, Crafter Hours, whatever this is. As Crafter Hours is a series of streams where we get together and work on something new or possibly interesting, and this stream is no exception. We're going to continue working on our entry for the Spring Lisp Game Jam, which has been going on for a few days now. I think I've mentioned that before. Actually, let me pull up another window under the screen so I can see the YouTube chat. The Spring Lisp Game Jam is a 10-day game jam, where you get together with other Lisp enthusiasts and work on a game either from scratch or one that you started with already in the Lisp of your choice. And what we're doing is a web-based MUD that is written in Guile Scheme and is mostly server-driven, so we don't have any client-side JavaScript code, or at least none that we're writing ourselves. It's all being driven by a library called Datastar for the backend. And we're also using sprightly goblins as the core of the engine. So things have been going pretty well. We haven't made as much progress as I would have liked, but today we're going to try to get back on track and work through some issues that we were seeing in the last stream, and then try to flesh out the game world a little bit. So in the last stream, we worked on an entity actor in using goblins, so basically like an entity that you should be able to control in the world. We didn't really make a whole lot of progress with that because we were spending more time working on how to interact between the player typing commands into the user interface, and then having those commands control the entity that's on the screen. So today we're going to finish that part up and then start working on the actual logic for the game. We also got rooms started up, but we haven't gotten anything done yet for being able to broadcast messages to whoever is in the room currently. So that's kind of an important thing for a game like this. Whenever someone walks into a room, if there are other people in the room, then they should be notified about that, plus see any other events that are happening. So we're going to continue where we left off. Let me pull up the code. If you want to check out the actual code that we have, it's on codeberg.org/systemcrafter/goblin-mud. You can go to that page and see the current state of the code. And also what we committed in the previous commit. Let's see. Yes. So yeah, just adding a bunch of new stuff like the room file, the entity file, and then changing up some of the stuff in the routes, basically how events are handled. So we'll continue from there and move on to making some more fun stuff. I don't really know whether we're going to end up submitting anything in the end, because I still have to like get the game running on the server so people can try it out, and we'll see. We've only got this stream and the one on Friday to get it done, and I might have to like do some stuff over the weekend to kind of finish things up here and there and get a submission in, but I'm not like fully confident we'll get there, but it's fun to work on anyway, so I'm happy to just, you know, have an opportunity to write some cool code and to learn a bit more about sprightly goblins. So hello to Hate Them over on the YouTube side. If you're here on the stream watching, please say hello in the chat so I can greet you. Okay. So let's see. Let me just get the game started up so that we can take a look at where we're at currently. I don't think I have it running, do I? No, I don't have it running. So I'm going to restart the game, and we're going to load up the localhost 8080 page. Now we're connected. We've got a new session created. Let's see, and the event loop is going. Everything seems fine. Let me try to type in a look command. I think this is where we got stuck last time. The events stopped running, and we need to work through that. So we're going to do that in a second. Hello, RJ. The jam runs for 10 days. It ends on Monday. So like basically first thing on Monday, or maybe end of Sunday. Depends on where you are in the world. And there is no limitation on language framework so long as it's using a Lisp language. So you have to use something like Common Lisp, Scheme, Clojure, or even your own Lisp. If you've created your own Lisp implementation somehow, you can use that as well. A lot of people use a language called Fennel with Lua. Fennel is basically a Clojure-derived language for Lua that compiles to Lua. Also can be dynamically evaluated in Lua. But point being, there are many options for writing a game in a Lisp if you want to do that and participate. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It happens twice a year, spring and fall. So it's there's plenty of opportunity for you to jump in and enjoy that. All right. So the thing that happened here is that we typed in a command and it seems to have just hung up the event loop entirely. So let's see. I think what's happening is I must be blocking on something at some point. Let me go to all the places where I call send message sync. All right. So in entity, we have a few different places. When session actor send message sync, session actor push event, that's probably something that does not need to be synchronous, and that might be part of the reason why we are locking up. So let me just make that not synchronous, because the only things that need to be synchronous are the places where we need something to be returned. In this case, we're running this display event message inside of an entity. We don't need to wait for that to be returned before we can send something onto the actor. So that might be one place where this ends up being a problem. Look direction, send message sync room. Even this one doesn't need to be synchronous because we're not waiting for something to be given back. We're actually waiting for the room to do the message description. So let me actually take a look at what room is doing. So in room, the describe for event says describe room, and it sends a message back to the entity. So we're kind of just passing messages around. So that also does not need to be synchronous. Control entity. Does this need to be synchronous? Let's see, make entity, control entity. This might need to be synchronous, mainly because we need to know that the entity control is set up before we continue with what we were doing before. So I would leave that as a synchronous message. For routes, when we send messages to get events, this needs to be synchronous because we need to get the list of events back before we continue on with the code. So that definitely will stay synchronous. In sessions, make session, send message sync to sessions. Yeah, this is coming from the outside and we want that to be synchronous because we want to get the value back out of it. So for make session and get session, those have to be synchronous. And then for handle player command, sending a message synchronous to the entity. I don't think we need that to be synchronous either because it kind of just gets passed into the system and then it kind of goes on its own way. So that's a few different places where we could break that deadlock, I think. So let me go back to compilation. I'm going to restart the game and then we're going to see what happens when we try to run a command in there. All right, so let's reload. And then this time I'm going to type look and press enter. It still seems to be getting stuck somehow, and I'm not entirely sure why. Let me try to reload again, because it doesn't seem to be actually... Oh, it's not reloading the page because the whole server's locked up. Let's see. All right, reload again. All right, look. Press enter. Yeah, it's still getting locked up. So let's see. Trying to think of what could be. Hello to Speedos. Speedos says, didn't catch the last live, but I really want to see how you're tackling this and making a mud of my own enclosure whenever I have time. That's cool. Hey, Kyle, man. Nice to see you, dude. So let's see. Where do we go from here? I think I need to start logging some messages out to see where things are getting stuck, because I have no idea what's happening anymore. We're just going to trace through the process of where we're going. First of all, sorry, we got a little bit of technical difficulties here, lighting complications. Let me know if the audio goes out. Whatever. So we're going to send, or we're going to write a log message around the place where we get a... Oh yeah, I've been streaming on both. I use Restream to stream on both simultaneously, which is useful. I know I'm spamming the feed with all the stream recordings. That's gonna slow down soon, I think. All right, let's see, handle command. Let's at least write out that we're sending a message here. So log info command. And command is here. All right, so we got that. Let's go into session actor. Can I actually see that look is being handled? Is nothing happening otherwise? All right, so let's see, handle command. And then go to entity and then handle the look message. All right, we got that. And then go to room and then hit that describe message. Let's see if we can get that far. What did I just see? Did I see an error? Possibly unbound variable string split. Session line 59. That ain't right. Oh, spilt? Did I press Control T by accident and transpose the characters? That's fun. Okay, so we're gonna type look again. Let me just retype this. Look, press enter. All right, command look, handle command look, look. Where else? Where am I? Right here. Split milk. Yes, spilt milk, spilt milk. I'm splitting the spilt milk. All right, so command look, handle command look. We got to here, we got to here. We're sending a message to the entity, and then what? And then nothing. Always a simple program error. Yeah, at least I didn't crash it this time. I saw it before I crashed it. So why is it not getting there? That doesn't make any sense. Send message to the entity actor. Let's actually see what the actor is, because I'm not certain that there's something there. It seems like it should complain if I'm sending it to a bogus actor, but okay, it is an entity. So we're sending it to entity. We're sending it asynchronously. At least we're supposed to be. Let me check engine. Send message. Yes, we're calling the arrow function, which is the asynchronous message send. All right. So then when we send a message to entity, it ought to go and hit the look message here, but we're not seeing look message. I'm a little bit confused by that. Now, when we spawn the entity, we're calling entity spawn. That should work. And we're not doing anything special here either. Do we have, yeah, the loggers pulled in. What the hell is going on? So something is hanging at that point. Let me see. let's just do that. Whoop. Okay, so it doesn't even get here. Like, we're calling send message, and for some reason it seems to hang anyway. All right, let me think about why that could be. Is the entity already blocked on something else? But that shouldn't matter because we're sending the message asynchronously, or at least that's the way it's supposed to be. With that, engine vat. All asynchronously on actor and arguments. Is supposed to be working. I've only been working on it for a few days. Since like last Wednesday, I think. It's not going to be any good. But I remember the old days of Avatar Mud. Back in the library in high school, hacking away on goblins and things of that nature. So let's see. God, this is really starting to frustrate me here. I know I'm probably doing something just stupidly wrong with goblins, and it's not going great. Let me see what else I can do for this. So send message. So we're not getting back to here. It should just be going immediately, all right? So my thought process was that, oh yeah, it's supposed to be RJ. It's supposed to be. You last played Avatar around 2002. I've probably played it since then for like 5 minutes. And I keep trying to play MUDs every now and then just out of a sense of nostalgia. And it never really lasts very long because then I just like realize I'm playing a text-based game. And every time I try to write a MUD now, I'm trying to do it in a way that doesn't look so ancient and crufty. And I think it would be cool to have a nicer looking MUD. But I haven't gotten that far. You know, I got problems finishing projects. Some of you may have noticed that. Okay, so let's see. We should not be getting blocked here. No matter what's happening, this should not be blocking us. I don't know why all of a sudden we're getting an issue with that. What was the other thing that I saw? Oh, wait, hold on. What's happening? Handle player command. Damn. If I go to engine, whoops. If I go to engine and try NP on this, the last time I tried this, it didn't do anything, but I imagine it won't again. Okay. Same. Just sticks at the location of look. In fact, where was I before? Yeah, look. So that makes no difference. But we are okay. Let's check this out. Log info, send message. We're just gonna drop args in there. We just want to see what's happening. Oh, logger's in here already. So let's just give that a little try. Let's see what happens. Reload the page, press enter. Send message, look false. Send message, handle command, look. Yeah, so it's hanging. How in the hell is that possible? Okay. The way it would be possible is if the event loop for the VAT is getting blocked. Something synchronous is doing it. And I don't think there's a way to, okay. The one point that probably needs to be synchronous is, what is the VAT? The VAT is, it sounds like a cool thing, but it's actually just a part of the framework that I'm using for the events in the game. It's just a way to handle a series of events that are coming in. But it's apparently getting blocked somehow. So what I mean by that is that I can't, it doesn't process any more events because it's getting stuck. So what I was saying is that back in routes, the thing that needs to be synchronous, or at least up until now, the thing that needs to be synchronous is getting the list of events that need to be displayed to the player on the UI, which is what this for each here is about. So if I loop over the list of events, I need to get them. I need to get them in a way that is thread safe, because presumably, I probably shouldn't assume that, but presumably the event loop for the game and the request handling for the web server are running on different threads. Now, possibly they aren't, because one is getting blocked by the other. I mean, waiting for get events for the session actor could be a part of the problem. But the thing is, I have to wait somehow. Is it possible that I just need to like wait on the Lambda here? Can I do that? Maybe I should just stop being silly and try something different. So if I send a message asynchronously instead and use the whole on thing. In fact, I need to invert this logic slightly. So if I change this and then use the Lambda. Now, events. I hope this works. Okay. So instead, I'm doing a more asynchronous approach here where I'm calling send message asynchronously to get events. When those get returned, they get passed into this Lambda procedure, and then I loop over them with for each. Question is that going to have the right behavior, or are we just going to end up with further problems? I would prefer if I didn't actually have to do the loop like this. I would prefer a... whoops, I need to do that within the context of the VAT. I would prefer to have a long-lived connection to the server open, but I can't do that with Guile right now. Speedo says, I was trying to scheme a Google Scheme VAT, and it's just impossible. No. Peter says, what's the logging package that I use? It's one that is part of the WebFrame, Guile WebFrame library that we've been working on so far. Apoorv wrote that part, I think. So if you go to source WebFrame and there's logger, it's super simple stuff. It's nothing special, you know, just plain old log functions. All right. So I need to have a wrapper function for this, I think. So let me go to session and define public get session events. Simpalaxy. Not sure exactly how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Yo, big fan of the main channel. Is Flux Harmonic just rolled into System Crafters now? Sort of. I mean, for things that make sense, like working on a game in Lisp for a game jam, I just kind of do it on this channel now because there's more people. I kind of miss doing stuff on Flux Harmonic, but it was a bit harder just maintaining 2 channels, especially whenever the other one didn't really get used so often. So yeah, for the most part, we just rolled that stuff into System Crafters, and we've been doing a lot more hacking on Crafter Hour streams. Get session events. Session. Then, let's see. That's enough, right? Now, with that, engine vat, we're going to use on. Oh, we need a lambda. Call it handler, whatever. The only downside you see is the background music. Do you prefer the synthwave stuff I was using on the other channel? Because I do too. Okay, handler. Now, we're gonna do get session events, session actor, session. And then we're gonna drop that same lambda right there. And then we're gonna kill this other stuff. I had to do that because I have to execute the code in the context of the event loop or the vat for the engine for things to work correctly. I hope this does something. I'm starting to lose hope entirely. I mean, I'm having fun sort of playing around with this stuff. If we don't make progress, whatever. I don't care too much. Some Palaxy says, I'm kidding, but having variety is neat. Yeah, I was playing some different tunes on this channel for a little bit a few streams ago because I got a little bit tired of hearing the same stuff over and over for 2.5 hours. But not today. If I was going to play anything that I would want to listen to, I'd just be playing the new Sleep Token album on repeat. But then I would get copyright striked pretty fast, I think. Kyle, do you listen to Sleep Token? If you don't, you should. So, let's run it and see. Let's see what happens. Unbound variable engine vat, son of a. Yes, okay, fine. I did it in the wrong place. Yeah, I feel like I'm really doing this wrong. I'm using goblins really wrong. Yeah, you should. I would say if you want to hear the best representation of Sleep Token, listen to the previous album, Take Me Back to Eden. But the new album is good too, but it's a little bit more infused with some other stuff that makes it sound a bit more poppy and also like trap music at times. So it might not be a good place to start, but Take Me Back to Eden is pretty badass. All 4 albums are good, but Take Me Back to Eden is the one that gives you the best sense of what they are capable of, I think. Yeah, well, there's some pretty cool stuff on the new album then, because the sort of trap infusion is kind of interesting. It's a British guy rapping over trap beats about heartbreak. That's the best way to describe it. And also complaining about being famous. Okay. So Alex says, I mostly work at Fennel these days. Really fell in love. Curious if you ever went back to it. I like Fennel a lot. I think it's cool. Yeah, Polyphia. I haven't listened to Polyphia in a while. Yeah, Fennel's great, but I haven't been back to it because I've been so heavy on Guile recently, and also Hoot. But I think Fennel has a lot of value because you can put Lua anywhere. Okay, what I was doing after I got distracted talking about Sleep Token is trying to move what I'm doing for get session events to engine, where the engine vat is. What is Senka and Zagurat? That sounds like ChatGPT invented some stuff. Tim Henson turned into a Final Fantasy boss. He kind of did, didn't he? Or at least a Final Fantasy main character. He definitely became more elfish over the years. I don't know if that's a word. But he is a badass guitar player, so what can I say? All right, come on. Get the brain back on track. I need some monster energy in this place. ADHD medicine. Okay, so get session events in engine. If I could type the word engine to get back to the buffer, I need something to run an asynchronous command with respect to the VAT. Not to send a message, but to run something asynchronously. So define public, run async, lambda, proc, sure. So get session events could potentially be written with respect to that. So instead of using with that here, I'll just drop that over into engine instead. Boom, right there with engine, lambda, no, proc. It's a thunk. Let's just call it a thunk. Thunk. I thunk it, so I do it. All right. Here, run async. I mean, I guess I could just do that directly, but let's just do it this way for now. All right, so we got a lambda that's going to get executed in the context of the engine vat. I'm trying not to expose the engine vat externally. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, because this is all just a big mess anyway at this point, but whatevs. So let's go back and restart the game. Run look, send message look F. Let me make sure that, okay, that's another thing I should do. Or let's check that. Maybe that's the right place to be logging. I'm gonna go into routes. I need to know when this is finished. So, log info, got events. And let's close off the begin block. Log info, get events. There we go. Actually, that's not actually true. Okay. Wait, what? What'd I miss? All with output stream, poll events. Engine line 30 what? Right there. Engine vat thunk. Okay, so it's inside that lambda, it seems. Call with object with vat thunk. That's weird. Let's try that again. Did that only happen after I started logging stuff? Because that doesn't make any sense. Okay, still the same. Good. At least I'm not going crazy yet. Wrong type argument, local object session. This is in. So get session events. Calls run async with a thunk. In there, we're doing on send message. This is just, oh God, it's awful. This is awful. Trying to think of the alternatives here. Yeah, this is getting worse and worse. I'm feeling really uncertain about the direction I'm taking with this. Like, it would be way easier to just write this the normal way and not try to use goblins, because the async stuff is not really super helpful at the moment. But kind of the whole point of doing this project is to use goblins. So I can't just rip it out and do things the quote-unquote simple way, because then I failed. I don't want to fail. I would prefer to make some progress, so let me just think. We're hanging somehow. I'm just going to undo a lot of what I did here. Let's just get back to a cozy little for each where we send a synchronous message to the session to get the events out. Okay, so let me roll back. There was another thing I was trying to explain before and I got distracted, like I've done 15 times already. So there are two approaches I could take. One is try to send a message into the event loop for the engine. Okay, there's another one too. Let me think about that too. Try to send a message directly into the engine synchronously to get the events out. So here's how this kind of all works. When you land on this page, it creates a session inside of the game engine. The game engine is sort of running its own event loop where things are happening. And when you type a message into the box here, it sends a message into the engine. And then as the engine loop is running, it should be, doing things in the context of the game world. So, Jazza says, but are you using Datastar? Yes, I am using Datastar. And I've been using it quite extensively on the streams in this channel so far, so you should check those out. So, that's what I want to work. That's the way that seems the most straightforward. But it seems that the event loop is getting hanged somehow because I'm waiting on the outside for the message to come back. Now, the second approach would be to ensure that the event loop is running on a separate thread from the web server. I thought that was the case. Maybe it's not. We need to look into that. Option number 3 is instead of sending a message into the engine to get the events out to be displayed. Oh, and let me step back because I got distracted again. The way that things are supposed to show up in this list is every 1 second, we're polling back into the server to get the list of events that are supposed to be displayed on the screen, whether it's like a description of a room or a player doing something or whatever. That's what this whole event request is for, is to extract those events out for the current player so we can display them. If we stop calling in synchronously and then use a list that we're editing or manipulating outside of the context of the event loop, we would have to lock around it probably. But I think we may still end up with the same problem. So, I mean, if the web server and the event loop of the game are running on the same thread, and we know they're running on the same thread, then their behavior should be interleaved. It should be concurrent and not parallel. So in theory, manipulating a list directly and accessing it directly out of the context of the event loop should be safe, more or less, but it's dirty. I don't like it. It feels wrong. But at this point, I'm desperate, so I might have to do wrong things just to make progress because we've got limited time left here. So. The two things I want to check are whether I'm running in a separate thread. So let me check the documentation for goblins. VATS overview. Making VATS. Spawn VAT. Make VAT. Such as when using goblins with a foreign event loop like a GUI toolkit or game engine. Sometimes it's useful to make and manage the VAT at a slightly lower level. 3 event hooks. Start. Procedure to start VAT process in a non-blocking manager, such as a new thread. So I might have to like actually make a new thread for the VAT and have it be running separately entirely, which would kind of get rid of our blocking problems, I think, so long as I'm not doing something else stupid. VAT envelope containing a message to handle within the VAT process. Envelope also indicates that the caller wants a response, in which case the send procedure must block until the message has been processed and return the result. Pseudocode. Let's see. Define start, churn, define loop, churn, DQ message. Okay, where's the message coming from? DQ. Set thread. Okay, how to implement enqueue message, enqueue, and wait for result in DQ depends on the integration target and is left as an exercise for the implementer, which means write it yourself. Custom VAT implementations must enqueue and DQ messages in a thread-safe manner because incoming messages from other VATs may be and likely are running in a different thread. No kidding. So let's look at the code. Codeberg. Sprightly goblins. There it is, right there. I want to check out. Let's see. Goblins. VAT. Spawn VAT. Create and return a reference to new VAT. If provided name is debug name of the VAT. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, if log is T, log VAT events. Otherwise do not. We might need that. Syscaller free fiber. So it's just spawning a fiber in the current environment. Let me go back to server. This is where we're actually spawning the engine originally. So we're running fibers. And now let's check the fibers documentation. Wingo fibers. We're gonna go to the manual. Wiki manual. Run fiber. I can type. Let's see. Okay, to create a new fiber scheduler and run it in the current Guile thread, use run fibers. So the question is, do I have two schedulers in the same thread? What's going on here? Like I have run fibers and there's run server also. Let me check the run server code as well because I'm a little bit confused at this point. The one thing I don't like about the implementation of the web server interface inside of Fibers is that you don't really have control over what it does. And I feel like I'm constantly running into issues here. Okay, so run server. All that stuff wrapped in the same Lambda. What's going on? Where are you? Define run server. Okay. So we're listening on socket. Run fibers. So it calls run fibers itself. And it spawns a fiber inside of run fibers. Let me check run fibers. Is it in the main module, I wonder? Fibers.scm. Run fibers. Re-exporting. No, that's a normal export. Okay, run fibers. There we go. Parallelism. Cond scheduler. Scheduler, false. Do I need to create a shared scheduler somehow? I don't think it actually gives me one, though. I gotta pull the other code up side by side. Probably just have this cloned down so we can look at it in Emacs, but whatever. Fibers, web, server. All right, so run fibers. They're not doing anything special. There's just a lambda being given. Running the thunk to be run inside of the scheduler that is theoretically being established by run fibers. No scheduler current, call with run fibers instead. Cond scheduler. Oh, it's spawn fiber. Okay. Fine. Define. There it is, right there. Cond scheduler. Else, let scheduler make scheduler. So we're creating a scheduler if no scheduler is being given. So how in the hell is this running still? Damn, man. We might need to flip back to the other server implementation. Let me check. Let's see, web server backend. Non-blocking fibers to read requests and write responses. Fibers also include a standalone web server that uses Gauss HTTP facilities but is not a web server framework. To run a web server that serves each client from fibers, specify the fibers backend when running your web server. Yeah, but how do you run that from in a fiber? How do you set this up correctly? That is annoying. And none of the rest of this stuff is public, is it? It's almost like I need to copy and paste this whole code and change it, which I really do not want to do. But I feel like this must be what's happening. The web server and the engine are running in the same thread. On a scheduler in the same thread, potentially, or two schedulers in the same thread, and there's a deadlock. Has anybody else written anything with the Fibers web server? I mean, like, Sprightly must have done something, shouldn't they? Goblinville. Oh, that must be their game for breakout clone. Okay, they're doing something cool. Looks like rough sketch of actors and client. Let's see what they did. Okay, actors, define actor, player, name, position, inventory. So they're seriously, like, you know, leaning into having getters and setters on actors, which seems like overhead to me, but maybe that's the right way to do it. Damn, tile layer. Object layer, jeez. We're writing a tile map renderer as an actor. That's insane. Utils. So, okay. Looks like they're making some kind of RPG. I need to copy these for sure, because I hate the indentation of with that right now. What am I missing? Utils, make grid. They're exporting them all. Where is the loop getting started up? I would think it'd be here. Oh, okay, there it is. No wonder. Load diff. World vat. Spawn the world. Okay, there's a world vat and a client vat. Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so they got some record types as well. And where are those getting used? We're drawing sprites, drawing tiles, drawing objects. Dave's really going for it here. Refresh chunk. Initializing the map on match. Banana Spy is asking, why is tile map loader as an actor insane? Well, just it. So this whole actor thing, it's kind of a different way of writing code than just typical, calling functions. It's more of like you have an object that lives and you're sending messages to it, and it's all driven by this event loop, which is kind of similar to what's happening in a game, but it is a bit more indirect than writing normal code. And I'm just a little bit surprised to see that they're going so far as to make everything be an actor message, because I've kind of avoided that a little bit, but apparently I shouldn't, because the people who are making the Goblins library are doing it differently than I am. So this makes me reconsider what I'm doing, because clearly what I'm doing is wrong. It is very wrong. How are they initializing the game? This seems like a normal program. Actually, let's... Oh, is this in... This is in Hoot, probably. So it's WebAssembly. Yeah. And canvas render, okay. Plurmio says, I have a question about Lisp. Lisp is a functional style programming, but so is Haskell, but those are very different. I don't know, but I presume you have had bad autocomplete. Your message got cut off for me because I don't actually see all of the Twitch chat. You might want to ask your question, at least the specific part of your question again, so I can see what it is. Apologies for that. My streaming setup is a little bit weird. Bad autocomplete and ID supports as Lisp is fully dynamic. Not necessarily. Right now I have decent autocomplete whenever I actually have the REPL turned on. So the thing about working with a Lisp language, is typically you have a REPL environment to work in, which means that you start up your application and then you connect to it with basically a prompt. And then if your editor supports like sending messages through that prompt to get information about the current program, then you can get autocomplete. It's not the same as with a language like Haskell, where it can be statically analyzed without the program being without the program executing currently. Because with Haskell, everything is strongly typed, statically typed. You can get completions back pretty easily. You can get function signatures, etc. In the case of Guile Scheme, which is what I'm using, if you connect to a running application using the REPL, or if you start a REPL and you start interactively developing inside of the REPL, the Geyser package inside of Emacs is able to get completions and function signatures for a lot of the code that has been loaded. So it does help, but you kind of get used to not having that. So you can get by without it. You don't necessarily need it, but it is nice to have. And that also is different for every Lisp. Even every schema implementation has different levels of support for IDE functionality. So it's hard to say for sure whether you would get what you need. It depends on what you use, what tools you use. All right. So I feel like we've really gotten into the weeds here. We're off the path. Is there a way to recover? The built-in web server for fibers needs some work. It needs to be more flexible. Like, there need to be some levers to change things, like to provide a pre-existing scheduler or something so that you can coordinate the things that are happening with the web server with Goblin's VAT. I suppose there's maybe I should have multiple VATs. Maybe that's one problem that I'm having right now. So like a session VAT. And then the VAT for the engine. Because they're sort of running separately in a way. So let me look at what I have for the code. Can I do this in like the simplest, stupidest way possible? And also, let me take one last look at the code for Goblinville here. Client VAT, where's that being used? Client with VAT, client VAT. With client VAT. Move left, spawn VAT. And did I see an engine VAT? What else did I see here? World VAT, world VAT. So the world has its own VAT. The thing that I was curious about, and this seems to confirm it, is that you can send a message to world without being in the VAT of the world. You don't have to be in the world VAT to send a message. Okay, so that's good. So in the context of a session VAT, I can send messages to the engine VAT and vice versa. All right, let's change things a little bit here. Let's just see what we can do. So the session itself. I don't want to have one VAT for all sessions because it feels like that's another way where things could get choked. But also for each session, having a VAT and an actor simultaneously does seem a little bit strange. Maybe it's not, though. Okay, so. And let's grab the session that too. So sessions. Start session manager, engine spawn. Could I just have one VAT maybe? Does it matter? Technically, they're two different event loops, but they can still get blocked. Let's try it this way first and see if it makes a difference. Define session vat false. Spawn vat. Let's go to engine. I forgot how to spawn a vat. Spawn a vat. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that will spawn the session manager in the session vat. Interesting. I've been spawning in here. With respect to what, though? Make session. Okay, make session. Interesting. So, oh, send message sync. Got it, got it, got it. So let's change that. We're going to do session vat. So in engine, send message sync is calling $ with actor and args in the context of the vat. So with that session vat, yeah, I have to remember what everything is. There we go. That's for making a session, then getting the session also is a synchronous operation. So that could be a problem as well. All right, so now we should be doing things in its own, in the session's own vat. And calling send message here is fine because we're sending a message to the entity vat through the actor there. Okay, let's rerun this and see what happens. It could crash and burn completely. Let's see, wrong type in argument position 1, server handler, raise exception, get URI, call with that. Who the hell knows? Goblin, okay, server.scm, line 23. 23. Get session, all right. So back over in, let me start the session manager first. For the engine. I don't know if that matters, but let's do that. Get session over in session.scm, get session. With that, session vat, sessions, get session, session ID. Okay. Session vat, get session. Okay, active session ID. That should be fine. Should be fine. Is it because the session vat with that set sessions, spawn sessions? Yep. maybe... I guess it would have to be in the context of the vat here, so calling spawn is fine. Maybe I need some logging. So server.scm, excuse me, server.scm session, get session. When we're in get session, let's just see. Get out of here. 502, 502. All right, so the same thing. Get session. I should also write out session vat and sessions. One of these is false. False. The session vat. How in the hell is that possible? And how did sessions get spawned if there was no session vat? That makes no sense. Hold on a second. So we've started the session manager. First. Then we start handling requests from the server, from the client. We know what the session ID is. How is it possible that it's... Am I setting it somewhere else? Oops, let me go restart the page. So, oh, get session false. Yes, that's correct. Local object sessions. Even that. Server 23. 23. Same thing. Get session. God damn it. I see what I did wrong. I didn't call set, I called define. So I overshadowed the definition. Boom. All right, fine. Not in the same vat. Local object session. That's better. Make entity. Where am I calling make entity? In routes. Make entity. All right, so here... we call make session. We call make entity. It's kind of exposing something interesting to me, though. I was calling some of these functions without being in the context of a specific... Okay, yeah. Make entity. What is happening? Make entity. Local object session. Yeah. Engine 20 something. All right, so make entity, engine spawn, and this is not being done in the context of the engine at all. No, it is engine spawn. Okay. Not in the same vat. Why does that matter? Okay, send message sync is wrong here, that's for sure. So session needs to be defined a little bit differently now. Session. Okay, so get events. Got it. So here, this needs to be... Okay, let's try that. Complained about get entity though. I don't exactly know why it did. Not in the same vat, local object session, make entity. So we got here to where we need to make the session. Banana Spice says, I can barely hear your keyboard. Mine sounds like an 1890s typewriter. Yeah, I have a very low profile keyboard. Speedo says, did you fix the event loop being blocked? Not yet. We're trying separating the session management vat from the engine vat because I saw something like that in Dave Thompson's code, which, you know, I'm just kind of blindly copying things and hoping they work at this point. I don't really have a whole lot of faith in my ability to fix this because I'm not an expert in goblins. I know a lot about event loops, but I think that I don't have the control that I need to fix the problem the right way. So I'm just sort of, you know, praying that something's going to work. All right, so, damn. Why is it complaining about the vat? Because here, make session is being done in the context of the session vat. Then make entity is being done in the context of the engine vat. Because I'm calling my little engine spawn function here. So WTF. We're in make entity, line number what? 41? Send message sync. Oh, right. Maybe we should expose a different API for that. It is kind of exposing to me the problems that we might have been causing for ourselves here. So this is a good little exercise, I think. What is it? Set controlled entity. Session entity. Session actor. That's probably the wrong thing to do anyway. So make entity. Let's just give it session directly. Whoops. What a mess. Then Espa says, I thought you got rid of the sync. Yeah, there's something else going on here that is a bit deeper. Sorry. Okay. Set controlled entity session. Details. Details. That's a terrible variable name. Wait, hold on. All right, yeah, I want to save that. Let's go back over here to session. Set controlled entity with that session that. But hold on. Once again, I'm doing things in a stupid way. Not the right way, the stupid way. Yeah. Doing things the stupid way. I keep writing code that's kind of on the outside of the event loops, and I really should just be pushing things into the event loop every time. This is where I keep getting things wrong, I think. We're calling make entity here. I think we need a different way to approach this. Because make entity here is kind of on the outside. Let me just rethink the model here. I believe that there needs to be some kind of entity manager or engine. I mean, the engine itself can be an actor. Or the world, let's say, world responding things. So maybe I'm just being stupid. Engine vat. So, engine spawn. I think that's wrong. Okay? I think that's kind of wrong. I've been going about this all wrong. Define actor. Engine. What was it called? Let's go to entity. It's called self. Self, this engine, okay. Do I need parameters? I need become, at least. All right, methods. I also need the methods module. Use module goblins. What's it called? Actor lib methods. Okay, method. First method. Make entity. I was trying to avoid engine having to know about entity, but maybe it's fine. That's the one place where I have to do something engine related in here. So maybe I can just take that out. I can just make that a plain old spawn. Then there's a couple different things that have to happen here. One thing that I realized with rooms is that there needs to be a way to describe a room and define it without creating an instance of an actor. So we need two different ways to view an entity as well. The record type, which is basically the name and the description and effectively the initial state of an entity, the metadata that it has. The template, I guess you could call it. We don't want it to hold an actor because we're actually not going to talk in terms of the actor. So things like set entity actor are gone. the entity actor itself will hold an instance of the original entity potentially. Yeah, this is going to be a little rewrite. We got an hour though. So maybe let's just try it. I think improving the overall design of the code to be more goblin-y would be better. So entity session actor. Now, let me think about that for a second. When we spawn an entity, do we know which session that it's associated with? I guess that's a message that can be sent. Would it not be? This whole thing needs to change. What a mess. So. So name and description, that's good enough to start with. And what we're gonna do is in engine, we have make entity, okay? So that's good, let's start with that. We can call the make entity procedure that's coming from the entity library. So we can go use module goblin mud entity. Go back over to entity and take out the reference to engine library so we don't do any strange stuff with cross module references. Then make entity the procedure wants to call make entity, but we're kind of going backwards now. We don't need details anymore. Okay, so let's just kill that. We got the entity actor. We can call that entity. Respawning entity. Let's not do the session actor yet. Let's just start over, okay? Because this is just killing me. So, do we need that? I mean, what we could do is just literally call spawn here. Spawn entity. Now, we would need to export the entity actor, and it seems that they're doing that in the code for the Goblins game. So maybe it's okay to do that. It's just a definition of an actor. So we're going to export the entity actor itself. We're going to spawn it. The engine is going to spawn it. Cool. And then back in routes, where we call make entity. We would need to send a message in to the entity vat to tell it to spawn an entity. So we'll still need something like the send message sync. So this make entity, let's just change this real quick. I'm gonna, whoops. All right, so entity, we're going to change this to be a public procedure. We've gotten rid of the helper. No, we haven't gotten rid of the helper. Let's just get rid of the helper. I don't care about that anymore. All right, so then back in engine, make entity. We're going to spawn that entity. So then also back in routes, let's get rid of these lines. I don't really care that it's not like a real entity reference. So we're just going to set that up like that. Entity. Then we're going to send message. I don't want to have to touch the VATs, but we're kind of outside of the VATs right now. How can I do this the right way? All right, look, I'm gonna take a 2-minute break to get my mind together, and then I'll come right back and we'll try to spend one more hour fixing this and try to make it a little bit cleaner. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I think the thing to be done here is not to actually create the entity at this location. I think that the session manager should be the one that's taking responsibility for getting the initial entity set up for a player that's starting. I want to minimize the amount of reaching into the goblins stuff as I can. Minimize it as much as possible, let's say. So at this point, since we're going to try to make a session, we should really just, when we call into session and we call the make session procedure, we are doing with session vat make session. So that should take care of everything. So if I go back to that implementation and make session. All right, so we're creating a session ID. We are creating a record for the session, which honestly is not needed. I think that that's something I was trying to do before, but I think it's probably BS. Maybe that doesn't need to be done. So we'll fix that. Then we're creating the session, but also we need to create the entity to attach to these sessions. So this needs to be done here. What we really need to do is send a message to the engine vat. Engine. Sessions needs access to the engine. So start session manager needs to have a handle to the engine. When we create the session vat, we need to spawn it with the engine. Oops, nope. We need to spawn it with the engine as a parameter. So sessions, we saw that right, sessions. Yes, engine is a parameter, got it. So here we can send a message to engine to make entity. Okay. And then we can attach to the session that got created. So for the session itself, session actor, we can just do it right here. And then there will be no need for this control entity message. I'm going to leave it for now because I have an idea for how that could be used at some point, but let's just leave it for now. Set in session, what is it? Session actor. Controlled entity. Okay, so, oh, I do need to do that. Okay, that's fine. So then for the session, I will send the control entity message, control that entity. So here, where's the session actor? Session actor, session, control entity, entity. There it is. All right. So that takes care of it all at the same place. One thing we didn't do though, we called make entity, but we didn't actually give it the initial entity. So I'm gonna go back to routes. I'm gonna steal this entity that I'm using here. We'll just put that in like that. That's okay. And so we can get rid of that. Get live room starting room. So that's something that should also be done, I think, by the session. So can I also set that up? Where is the to do also put the entity in the starting room? Feels a little bit wrong to have the session reach into other modules, but let's just go with that for now. So session, make session, merge signals session ID. Okay. That's the reason why I had to be a record. So I actually have the access to the ID on the outside. That's fine. Is this a usable function now? Good. So session, make session. We got entity here, which is really just a an actor now with a definition record type. Am I missing anything in here? When session actor, send message session actor. Session actor. So an entity needs a way to send a message back to the associated session. Maybe even call it a listener. That could be a thing. Okay. Then back on the outside in routes, we're really just creating a session and calling merge signals, and that's it. So this should be okay now, I think, for poll events. So if there's a session, then we get session events. Let's go check the definition of get session events just to make sure. Get session events with session vat. We call the get events message on the actor for the session. Okay, let's just run it. Let's run it, see what happens. All right, got some syntax errors and some unbound variables. So an entity, send message. Ooh, send message. So how do I deal with that? I don't need send message. inside of an actor. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay, there's a lot of stupid things I was doing, obviously. That's not needed. So this is an async message room. Cool. Let's change that too, just in case. So then details, entity. I don't even know what I'm using that for at the moment. So over in room, this also is BS because we're already in the context of the engine vat when we do this. All right. And then engine spawn as well. Spawn room. I don't think I need engine anymore in here. Back in engine, when we start the engine, we set engine vat. We also need to spawn an instance of engine, the engine actor, and we need to return it. So if I go back over to server, we need to start the engine, and then we need to, actually, let's just do this. We'll pass the engine as a parameter to start session manager because we need that. In engine.scm, we have a missing parenthesis, so check parens. Must have fixed it. Unbound variable details, saw that. Also in routes, I saw a send message somewhere. Handle command, send message. Why is that no longer available? That's for sending a message to the actor. So a handle session command, I guess we could call it that. Session command. Let's go to session. Define public handle session command session command with vat session vat. This does not need to be synchronous. So session actor session. What's it called? Handle command. Okay, there we go. And I need to close off this session actor. There we go. Handle session command. Okay, so we got that now. No more send message here. Unbound variable session.scm send message. I think I fixed that one. No. Handle player command. We're going to send this to entity actor entity. And this is in the context. Okay, it doesn't matter what vat we're in apparently because it knows how to route these apparently. Unbound variable engine. And where is that? Let's go to engine. I probably need to move this above. Right here. Whoa. I don't know what I did. Engine line 19? What the hell's going on? Huh? mismatched close paren. Oh, I screwed up right there. Okay. Wrong number of arguments in form. Make entity line number 18. Make entity entity. Did I forget something else? Methods. Okay, everything looks okay up until that point. In spawn engine, no current syscaller. Right. With engine. No, sorry. With that. Got that. All right, get session vat ID 1 name F. Okay, cool. And where is that being written out? Session. Got it. Caught error. Not in the same vat. All with it. Did I still need to do that? Make session. All with that. Line 92. Engine make entity. So the fact that we're sending the message to the engine, is that what the problem is? Local object sessions make session. Not in the same. Why does it matter? Let's go to the documentation. Up, VATs. Let me make sure. I could be wrong about all this. So contents, tutorial, simple greeter. We have things in 2 different VATs, I believe. Or was that in the front page? There we go. VAT model of computation. Okay. All with that. Asynchronous message passing. We have ABAT and VBAT. Oh, right. You can't do synchronous message calls. Got it. Yeah, that's right. You can't do synchronous message calls between VATs. You can only do asynchronous message calls between VATs. So that's why this is not working. Let me think about this for a minute. I think there is a special form in the utils. Let on. So syntax trigger around on all of lambda blah 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 blah. To allow promise pipelining with a let-like syntax. So what I want is to bind the result of sending a message to the entity. I need let on, then entity is engine make entity, okay? And then the result is going to be put into here as it was before. Which module is this in? Actor lib let on. Okay, we're going to copy that. We're going to drop it here, let on. See, I'm just not getting the programming model right for this stuff, and this is why we've been having trouble. I'm pretty sure I'm just doing things horribly wrong. Okay, so that entity, that will be returned asynchronously whenever it's done. What is that error about? From that, what is the exception? Compound exception. Wrong number of arguments to A. Okay, that's progress. Make entity. So an engine make entity has only one. But maybe it's the entity constructor that's a problem. Yes, entity room inventory. Let's just kill that for now. Inventory, nope, room. So we don't know what room it's in to start with. Does it matter? Do we need to have a starting room? Is it important? If so, we can just drop it off in the starting room. Goblin Mud World Foyer. Where are we? So in session, and there's also room, get live room. Hash v ref. Yeah, this seems like another thing that should be done. In the context of the engine. In fact, it can be done because when entity gets created, I can say room. All right, cool. Let's do that. In session, we don't need to pull in this module, but let's go into entity. Let's pull in room. I hope this works. What about room? Does it need entity? Ah, damn. We're gonna figure it out, sort of, okay? We're gonna do the best we can here. So we have room. Define current room. Get live room. Yeah, that seems fine, sort of. Okay. Session. Make entity. Starting room. So we're going to do it this way. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to engine. And now we've been able to spawn the entity. Room. room. Get live room. All right, let's see what happens. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Wrong type to apply. Syntax transformer make entity. I screwed up something somewhere. Okay, entity line 33. 33, details, entity name details. Entity name entity. That probably didn't cause the issue though. Syntax transformer make entity. All right, so if we go over to engine, it's the only place make entity shows up. The room or eval make session. Okay. Got it. I think I screwed up something in make entity. What was the error? Wrong type to apply. Make entity. We got entity. Make entity. That's being exported. It's very strange. Wrong type to apply. Let's make it false for a second, because I don't know what the hell's going on. Unbound variable starting room. Shouldn't be. Starting room. Starting room. Starting room. Let on. Is let on not in the right place? What's going on? Is it something else weird happening? Unbound. I swear I've seen this before. Where it tells me something is unbound when it's not. All right, well, we're gonna make that false too. Yeah, there's something really weird going on here. Make entity false false. Yeah. Make entity false false. Spawn entity room. Entity room. Entity in room. Yeah, it must be this get live room thing. Good God. All right, so get session. That's fine. Let's get that out of there. I don't want to see that anymore. So we're back to not crashing, which is some kind of reassurance. I sent look and it didn't hang, which is also somewhat reassuring. It failed. Unbound variable entity actor. Where is that? Session? Could be session right here. Entity actor, entity actor. I'm pulling in entity here. In entity actor. That no longer exists. The entity itself that we're looking at. Entity. Where is this coming from? Handle player command entity. Handle player command. Controlled entity, set controlled entity. That's going to be a reference now. So then entity can just be entity directly, and then this can also just be entity directly. So let's try that. Oops. Let's go. There's another instance of entity actor in room. Entity actor entity describe room. Okay, there we go. Describe room entity. Yep, we're going to send a message directly to the entity. Got another crash. Don't know how to send a message. Trying to send a message to entity. Say, look, and it says we don't know how to send a message. I think well, I'm doing it asynchronously. So handle command, handle player command, handle session command, handle command, handle player command, command the session controlled entity, handle player command. Command session entity. Log info, look message. And who is getting that? The entity? Yeah, the entity got that. Okay, so room. Okay, we don't have room. There we go. That explains why that's not working. Get live room false. I feel like we're almost there, but there's just like a couple weird things happening that don't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, so we had starting room here before. Let me put make entity back. I'm just curious what's happening with that failing. Banana Spice says, it's all foreign to me. I'm still messing with Python. Well, that's good, though. You should be messing with Python. Let on. Let me just make sure that I'm calling let on correctly. Let on for a, got it. Okay, Willikers says, new here, can you explain what you're doing? I'm trying to write a multiplayer game with a lot of really weird stuff, and as usual, the weird stuff is causing weird problems. In session, actor session, potentially in starting room. That should have done it already. Okay, let's run it again. Ugh, get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, okay. Wrong type to apply. What the hell does that even mean? It's a freaking parameter. Wait. Still. All right. Let's do this because I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. Initial entity. Unbound variable. Make entity. You know, this must be a problem with some kind of circular reference. Ugh. Put me out of my misery. So, session pulls in world foyer. This is scheme, which pulls in goblin mud room. Room pulls in entity and session. Why? Doesn't need it. Okay, so if we go back, session pulls in entity. Does entity pull in session? No. Session pulls in room. No. Session pulls in world foyer, which pulls in room. Entity pulls in room. Room pulls in entity. Why? It doesn't need it anymore. So how about I get rid of that entirely? Let's see if this helps. Still no. But I think it made progress. Let's go back to session. Starting room. Let me do this. I think that the circular reference screwed up the ability to evaluate certain bindings. That's much better. Okay. So let's go back here to Goblin Mud, type in look, enter. An error is better than nothing. Don't know how to send message to room. Name a cozy room. Okay, that's the wrong thing. Let me go back to, where are we? Entity, look, no, describe for room in this case. Oh, current room. Here we go. Look. Another error. Don't know how to send message to. Say what? That is not right. To room. Okay. This is scheme. Guile scheme. I feel like we're getting closer, but not close enough. Not close enough. So, whoa, wait a second. I see send message. not being used anymore. Sending a message to room, describe for. That should be right, right? Well, Tesseract, you say you want to make a full game. I'm definitely making a dull game here. M to the M says it's almost exclusively used by GNU-related projects. It's very niche. Well, yes, it is very niche. That's why we have no viewers. And that's okay. I'm fine with it. I accept my fate. Sort of. Describe for entity name anonymous. That's not right, though. Is that part of the problem? Stream for the love of the craft, more or less. At this point, what else is it for? Okay. Kay Williker says, I'm curious, so I like watching this. Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Come on. I got to get there. I got to make that last step, the last mental step. So in room, describe room entity. Yes, it is my pain, for sure. It's a lot of pain, and I'm starving too. That doesn't really help. So describe room entity, we're just trying to send a message back to entity for a display event. That's not the one that it's complaining about. Sending a message to room with the arguments. Don't know how to send a message to. Okay, I think I did something else wrong too. How about room.scm get live room. Where am I spawning it? Okay, I'm spawning it in the context of the engine vat, I think. Set actor, hash reset live rooms, room actor, return actor. Get live room will return the actor directly. So, back in engine, where we're calling make entity, actually it'll be an entity where the get live room is being called. We have access to a room. We're sending an asynchronous message to current room, described for entity and direction. This actually needs to be this entity. That's one problem. But I don't think that's the only problem. Yeah, let's see. We still got a little complaint here. Wait, oh, it did make progress. So now, okay, some of these errors are not very clear, in my opinion. I think we're making progress finally. Good God, what a mess. So in room, we got describe message. Describe room entity is trying to send a message back to the entity for display event. Do I do anything with that now? Entity. Nope. Entity display event. I took that one out. Okay, so entity doesn't have a way to send that display event back to the session. What I need to do though, define listener. When listener so I'll do that, and then let's see, set listener. Let's call it add for now, and I'll make it a set later. Add listener. Okay. Back in session. let's see, where are we? Let on. We need to send a message to the entity for the listener. Can I just do that initially? Listener is a session actor. Okay. So there we go. Now we don't need to do anything. Oh, I got to go back to engine. Let's try this now. Good God. How long did that have to take? Okay, I can type in the command look, and it tells me the details of the room that you're standing in, for God's sake. All right, so it just took like a lot of rethinking and rewriting a lot of the stuff that we've done so far. I think the key ended up being push as much stuff as you can into the event loop. I don't know if having 2 VATs actually helped with the deadlock issue, or if it helped more just to flesh out the issues with what we were doing wrong using goblins. So I was trying to use with that too much, just to put myself in the context of a given VAT. I had created some helper methods for myself, and I ended up shooting myself in the foot because I ended up using them too often. So there's a few different things that it could be that caused the issue. So I'm not sure which one it was, but definitely these send message async things are a little bit risky. So let me kill that one. Okay, just want to get rid of some of these log messages now. Out into routes. Don't need to log the command anymore. Log info. Okay, go to session. Log info. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Create a new session. I'll keep that. Okay, that's fine. Go into entity. Don't want look message. All right. Let me just run this one more time. Probably in room, there's also some logs that need to be gotten rid of. Got that out. All right. Okay, got it. Oh boy. All right, so we really have not made progress. So what would it take now to get further? For an entity to do something in the world, it would have to be able to traverse through rooms. I don't think we're going to really make it. Maybe if I hack on the game some before the next stream on Friday, we might be able to, flesh out the world a little bit just to get something working. But it's not. I'm not completely optimistic that it's going to happen. I have learned some things about goblins, though, or at least I feel like I have a better intuitive sense about what I'm doing. The game genre is a text-based RPG. You ever heard of a MUD before? Multi-user dungeon. That's sort of the idea, but it's not really a game at this point. It's more just a poorly conceived experiment. So that all happens now. Just cleaning up the code a little bit. Entity controls, entities controlled either by session or by some kind of behavior logic. Yeah. Take a look at the diff. MUDs are a lost art. I agree. I think that MUDs are cool. I think that, you know, it's something you could play on your phone if the interface was conducive enough to that. Like if you had a web-based interface that you could just go to with a browser and type in some commands, maybe have some buttons here and there for being able to walk around, it could be a pretty fun thing to do. But, you know, someone has to do that. Doing the old Telnet style mud thing is just not going to work anymore. I think that there's plenty of room for people to make lo-fi multiplayer online games like MUDs, but with a slightly better interface. But I don't have time to focus on that full time. Telnet, yes. Telnet. That's the way we used to do things. All right, that looks pretty clean. Let's see, spawn. That looks better. That looks better. Yeah, we're making some progress. I think, you know, a bit more time, I could get pretty good at writing code with goblins. But the interesting thing also with goblins is that later on you could have multiple instances of the game world running on different servers, and then you could have game objects communicating between the servers for potentially load balancing some of the load of running the game. Because Goblins is meant for distributed applications. It's actually meant for being able to write things like even social media applications and things of that nature. It's pretty flexible. It's got some interesting ideas in it. I'm using it in a very primitive and stupid way, so it's difficult to see what you can do with it, but it does a lot of cool stuff. It's just being hidden behind my confusion. Netcode built in, yeah, it does have, it has like a way for you to communicate between objects remotely across processes or across servers, etc. And right now, the transports are either TCP or WebSockets. I think they've got one that might work with Tor. So there's a few different ways you can communicate between objects using Goblins over the network. But anyway, I think that might be it for me today. That was a lot of struggling and not a lot of progress, but that's okay. I mean, I think even with the struggle, I had fun. I learned a little bit, got to write some code, so that was cool. I'll commit this code. You'll be able to check it out on the repository for the project. That is at codeberg.org/systemcrafters/goblin-mud. You can go there and take a look at that if you want to. This is a bunch of freaky scheme code, so have fun looking at that if you want. And then on Friday, I'll be back on the normal stream time on Friday, which is later in the day. We'll try to do one final stream on this to hack whatever else we can get done in that amount of time. Maybe we'll do some actual, you know, game world coding in that stream. And then that will more or less be my submission for the game jam. And then we'll get back to normal streams the week after that. So anyway, thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate your time and attention. Leave a note in the comments if you have any thoughts or questions. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.